Hello. Uh, Making sure my audio is working. That there's no crazy glitches happening this time. Welcome, one and all, to the finale of my /r/ whatever the fuck playthrough of Dark Souls 3. Full discretion, the fucking, what do you call it? Clarity. I've been in the game before. Basically, shout out to my friend Kelsey. That kind of got me to get off my ass. I've been wanting to stream this for a while, but she really wanted to see this series, or at the very least this game. So I was like, fuck it, I'll stream it for you. It's been went by much faster and yet much slower than I thought it would. Last we left off, we have killed the two princes of Lothric. They had abandoned their duties to become Lords of Cinder and kind of set the ball in motion that seems to have led everything up to here with the previous people that linked the flame being brought back, and then they refused to go to their thrones, so we brought them back. The last thing, so we are near the end. Like, if you've never played this before, like, if I do a good job and I fucking crush it, we'll be done in like 10 minutes. I'm nervous. I'm really nervous. But like excited nervous. All right, let's fucking do it. All right. The lords have been brought back to their thrones. Prince Lothric, last hope of his line. Ludleth, the exiled. Aldrich, saint of the deep. Yorm, the king of the profane capital. And Faron's abyss watchers. They've all been brought back for the purpose of linking the first flame and keeping the Age of Fire going a little bit longer.
The five lords sit their 5 thrones, all thanks to thee, most worthy of lords. Ashen One, with the lords as thy witness, bend thy knee afore the bonfire's coiled sword, and let the lords' embers acknowledge thee as their true heir, a true lord, fit to link the fire. Farewell, Ashen One, mayst thou...
That's so fucking ominous that she ends that with farewell. Alright. Kneel before the coiled sword and before the 5 lords.
Noble lords of Cinder, the fire fades. And the lords go without thrones. Surrender your fires to the true heir. Let her grant death. To the old gods of Lordran, deliverers of the first flame.
Alright. I made the decision that I'm actually going to mute myself during that cutscene. There's pretty much one more cutscene during this, or after this, left in the game that's like that. I will mute myself for it. Yeah, alright. So, killing of the first flame. This is immediately a big, like, oh shit moment for anyone that played Dark Souls 1. Not so much Dark Souls 2, that kind of changed it around a bit, but it's very much return to form, in a way. So, yeah. Let's head on out. So, this would kind of, in a weird way, be considered a holy... Like, in a weird way, this would kind of be considered a holy place, you would think, in Dark Souls, because the whole Age of Fire and the kiln is where the first flame started. And then you come out and see it. Alright. Proceed to the first flame. My hands are sweating already. Like, just the anticipation of it. It's like, oh fuck, I get to do this again. Like, oh fuck, I have to do this again. It's no, I get to do this again. This is so good. Yeah. So, Pat from Super Best Friends points it out, and I thought it was a very awesome point that I had never even really considered. Is notice that, okay, you have these fucking, you have melted rock, but it's all blown in a certain direction. That fire is blowing out hard. Like, because this is ash. This is all ash. Like, ash. And it's all coming from one direction. And you get the sense that the fucking first flame used to be massive. Like, fucking huge. And it's, like, you can't even, like, it's, you know, if it was this big before, then yes, it is most certainly dwindling. Oh, the framing of this fucking shot. Ah, oh, it's so good. And, yeah. Let's see if we can get a closer look. Oh, shit. I could have sworn there was the thing to zoom. So that seems to be all that's left of the fire. The fire was, like, out to here. It was this huge fucking thing that was just billowing ash. And then it's down to that little thing. So I'm gonna remain mostly quiet during this fight. Lord of Cinder, fallen, soul of the lords. Whew! Actually, it wasn't that bad. So, let me fucking talk about that shit for a while, okay? So, my understanding is that that is everyone that has ever linked the fire ever. And, when you get him down, when you beat the first phase, when you get that health bar all the way down, and then he changes, and he starts doing lightning shit, and the piano starts with the music, like, that is Gwen. Gwen was the final boss of Dark Souls 1. And so it seems that when it came down to it, like, when it back against the wall, got it, like, you know, pull out all the stops, he reverted back to Gwen. So that second phase is actually, at least for me, a lot easier than that first phase. Because you know the fight if you beat Dark Souls 1. Because Dark Souls 1, the first time you go through and you don't know what Gwen's doing, he's going to kick your ass 5 ways to Sunday. But you just do it over and over again and you learn. And then you get here and you hear that music and you get that, you keep that muscle, as long as you kept that muscle memory, this fight is like exactly the same almost. So this is it. This is the first flame. If I hit X on that bonfire right there, the game ends. Because I've linked the flame. The Age of Fire will continue. But kind of what's the point? Let me take all my shit off. Kind of what's the point? Because this has been done over and over and over and over and over again. The flame keeps fucking going out. You can't fix this problem. It's not a problem that can be fixed. It's you're fighting entropy. You're fighting the natural order of the world. For a god that is dead for no real reason other than the fact that, well, there is certainly reasons. It's the fact that this is the world you know, and the world that will exist if the first flame goes out kind of sucks. But we have another way. By giving the Firekeeper's eyes, we have kind of shown her the truth, kind of unshackled her from her ties to the flame, and let her see things. And as Prince Lothric said as he died, is we are among the accursed. We are still stuck within the cycle of the first flame. So we have the choice to either rekindle the first flame, not knowing if it will even last long enough for it to be rekindled another time when it starts to fade again, or not knowing if there's even enough strength in the fire left to be rekindled again after this. Like, for all we know, this is the last one, and we're just delaying the inevitable a little bit longer. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna summon the Firekeeper here, and she's going to take that fucking fire. I'm gonna mute myself.
The first flame quickly fades. Darkness will shortly settle. But one day, tiny flames will dance across the darkness. Like embers linked by Lord's Pass. Ashen One, hearest thou my voice still?
Alright. That's Dark Souls 3. That's probably my favorite ending out of the 4 endings. Alright. Yes, there are 4 endings, and I will describe those 4 endings and what they I kind of interpret them as meaning. So the ending that happens when you just interact with the bonfire, with the first flame, is that you reach out your hand, and the flame weakly and slowly trickles up your arm a bit, and your character just kind of sits down in the ashen soot and lets the flame slowly burn them. This is very different from how Dark Souls 2 ended. Dark Souls 1, rather. Dark Souls 1, your character holds out his hands, and the second, like, his fingertips touch the flame, he just, like, immediately, like, it just, like, flies up his arm, and he catches on fire, and the flame goes bigger and bigger and bigger, and the flame practically explodes. Like, there's just a fucking explosion that fills the whole giant room. So that's what I was saying before, where the flame seems to be so weak, having been rekindled over and over and over and over and over again, that it's barely able to consume you this time. So who knows about the next time? It might not even, as I said, it might not last long enough for someone to get there. And even if it does, it might be too weak to even take and be relit, or rekindled rather. So that second ending, the End of Fire, I honestly, in my mind, that is how this series ends. Because Dark Souls 1 presented the 2 endings. You could either sacrifice yourself to the flame or let the flame burn out and be a Dark Lord. But considering Dark Souls 2 and 3 happened, I wouldn't consider those very canon. Dark Souls 2, I also consider my headcanon is the ending where you sacrifice yourself to the first flame is also canon. However, Dark Souls 2 kind of explores the idea that maybe we don't have to do it this way. Maybe there's another way to fix things. And honestly, it created a lot more problems than it did good in Dark Souls 2. However, that kind of introduces, I think, thematically, the idea that there might be that maybe to the linking of the first flame is not the way to go. And then in this, I honestly feel like with the flame being so weak, and the whole thing of, okay, the first flame's not been linked and it's starting to die, resurrect the old people, the old beings that linked the first flame before, and all, like 3 out of the 4 of them reject it and say, no, we're just going to wait out the end of the world. Technically 4 out of the 5 Lords of Cinder were just like, no, we will just wait out the end of the world. It doesn't matter anymore. It's been going on for so long, and the writing's on the wall that it's not going to matter much longer. And this is a way that we take the first flame, and there will be darkness. The Age of Dark has come at the end of that, in the end there. But the flame will return in some capacity. In some way, the Age of Fire will have a resurgence. I have a bit of a different interpretation. Vadi specifically said is that the line of Ashen One can now hear my voice still. I'm not denying that what that is implying is that they will have that the Unkindled and the Ashen One, or the Ashen One and the Firekeeper, they will have some role to play in this new in the future, in that with them having the first flame, they will play some significant role. Being that there's not going to be a sequel, and I highly doubt Elden Ring is secretly Dark Souls 4, that role will be complete. What that role is and what happens from here on out is completely up to interpretation and whatever you kind of want it to be. But I think a bit of my interpretation when I first heard that line of her asking your character if you could still hear her is, I think it just boils down to being afraid. This is a new world, and it's weird, it's uncomfortable, it's foreign, but you know, it's the comfort is someone, are you still here? We will leave the screen up so that we have a silent screen to monologue on. The second ending is actually in that moment where the screen actually fades to black from right to left. You actually have control in that scene. What you can do, you have about 5 seconds to do it, but literally, and you can be the biggest. I think this is the biggest asshole thing to do in the world. And there's a lot of, I'll be honest, I don't have a solid explanation for this ending, but you can just attack the Firekeeper and kill her. And you wound her enough that she is helpless. And your character puts their boot on the fucking Firekeeper's head as they reach down and grab the first flame. And then they kind of kneel into the ash and they hold it up to the giant, dark sign in the sky. What the interpretation of that is, I'm honestly not sure. That is much more you're taking power for yourself. You just got greedy and power hungry. Maybe from the beginning, maybe in that moment it was too much to resist. I don't know, that's maybe my interpretation of it. And then the dark ending, not evil, dark ending, is you talk with Yuria, And you go through this long process where you collect dark sigils. And um, when you take, yes, so you walk in with enough darkness, with enough dark in you. I think this is my interpretation. You walk in with enough dark in you that when you go and sacrifice yourself to the first flame, you're able to fucking wrest that shit, like wrestle it away from what it wants to do. It wants to consume you and burn all the souls held within you to rekindle itself. My interpretation of literally you wrestle control of it and you absorb it into yourself. And the end shows Yuria and Henri and several other characters, and a bunch of hollows, all kneeling in front of you as you walk out of the kiln. And Yuria, I believe it's Yuria that says, is like, make Londor whole. That is your Dark Lord ending. You are now, it seems, have called in the Age of Dark, and you are now the Gwen to this age, is what it seems to be. All the endings are very short. You could probably get through all 4 of them in like 10 minutes on YouTube. If you're interested, I encourage you to go look them up. I just kind of explained what happened and what my interpretation of what they mean. But, yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else I really want to say. No, I think I got all my monologue out. I very much like the ending I got. Yeah, something about it seems very right, because this being the last game in the series, and again, there's that whole tonal thing of, there's a little bit of conflict of, go Link the First Flame, but where Frampt and Koff, the serpents, are telling you, one is telling you to go Link the Flame, and he's fucking lying through his teeth. The other one's kind of also probably lying through his teeth, talking about being and going on to be a Dark Lord, when the First Flame dies. But again, like, canonically, I'd say Dark Souls 1 is pretty much blind loyalty to the First Flame and the linking of the First Flame. Dark Souls 2 is much more, introduces the whole thematic thing of, like, trying to break that cycle and try to do something different, which ends up not working and in fact makes things much worse. And Dark Souls 3 is finally the breaking of the cycle. We're going to do something new. We're going to do something different. Let the old world die. Because it doesn't matter. Like, the reason we're fighting for doesn't matter anymore. So, with that, thank you so much for watching. Once again, huge thank you to my friend Kelsey. She, like I said, she really wanted to see this game. I've been wanting to stream for a while anyway, so this kind of gave me a massive motivation to get off my ass and do it. Did a lot faster than I thought I would. I thought I was going to finish this shit in like December or something. But to anyone who's watching now, thank you so much, especially if you went through all the videos with me. Fuck. You probably are annoyed to shit by my voice by now. But, yeah. If I'm going to do another Dark Souls, probably be Dark Souls 2. Not planning on doing any of the DLCs. They're a bit too long, and I'm not a big fan of them. At least the ones in 3 and 2 just are kind of long and tedious. And they don't really add to the main story, I'd say. Not in such a way that I couldn't explain it, like, in a few brief sentences. But anyway, yes, I've rambled on enough. Thank you all so much. I hope, if you're hearing this, hope you all have a good day, or whatever. I don't know how to fucking close this shit out. We're gonna just kind of hit that and see what happens. Yeah. Anyway. Oh, wait. I know how to end this. To rip off of certain popular tube. Thanks everybody. I will see you all in the next video. Not sure what I'm going to stream. As I said, probably Dark Souls 2 if I'm going to stream anything. But thank you all so much for coming out. Thank you all so much for watching, no matter how much you watched. And I will see you all the next time.